Hello YouTube land and welcome to Force In Unison Live Episode 10. Welcome Dick, welcome PS I love you, welcome PSV Xbox, whatever. Welcome everybody, because today we're kind of celebrating a little bit of PlayStation love. Today we're going to talk about Paris Games Week. Today we're going to talk about Sony looking into microtransactions. Today we're going to talk about The Last of Us 2. Today we're going to talk about Spider-Man. But most of us today we're going to have some fun, baby. Yeah. Thank you for that drum set. Thank you for the band. Thank you, band. You guys rock. Caliones, how you doing tonight?
Hey, how you doing, everybody? And yeah, we're just going to be recording here and talking about PlayStation. Well, not really recording if you're doing it live, so it auto records anyways. But yeah, there's a couple of news that we got to talk about. Some of them are good, others are not necessarily so good. So we're going to be discussing those. So take it away, Dantes.
So today, I'm excited because I'm doing a little bit of crossover. I'm finally getting a PlayStation podcast in this channel today, even though Caliones has Mario Odyssey in the background. But it's all good. We can figure it out, and we'll come up with something and make it work, right? But Mario Odyssey is still a great game. I want to give it props to it because I've been playing a lot of that game. Sweet game. Anyway. Let's do our quick rigmarole, shall we? Welcome everybody to Force In Unison Live Episode 10. Every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also remember tomorrow, streaming Wednesdays with my boy Caliones, play with the peeps and have a little bit of fun. Also, please remember, we got a small Facebook page called @Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caliones. With all that said, greatness awaits, or greatness is here with the PlayStation. Anyway, but I have to start with the sad news of Sony and the new guy who's substituting Andrew House. Let's do that because I am not a happy camper right now. And that way I can get the shitty news out of the way faster. Anyway.
Well, it's kind of big news, so you cannot just get it away. It's going to take a while.
The good news, I mean. It's still the bad news. I like to give the bad news first. So it hurts less afterwards. But anyway. The news basically talks. Sony talks shift from hardware to monthly active users, plans to explore microtransactions. And here's how I'm going to read it completely, the article. We go line by line. During the Sony Corporation quarterly financial conference called for investors and analysts, the company executives have talked more about the plan for the PlayStation business, which is basically the only business that makes them money right now. First of all, the finance and corporate development executive, Asuko Murakami, talked about PlayStation Plus. She mentioned that the company would like to make the service more attractive to existing members to keep user retention rate high. While it's not easy to retain users for a long term, Sony has been implementing measures to achieve that goal. Nothing bad news. I think it's good that they're trying to keep more people engaged with PlayStation Plus. I think they can do it with, honestly, giving better games on PlayStation Plus. But as we continue with it, Chief Financial Officer Kenshiro Yoshida mentioned that more than half of the sales from the game and network services in the current fiscal year will be coming from the network. So what they're saying is they're making pretty good money on the network, and which, if you see the quarterly resorts, they did made really good money on PlayStation. This is why talking about microtransactions kind of bothers me. But anyway, as we continue. There are mitigating factors to the effect of the console cycle on revenue. The business model used to be business-to-business royalty-based model, but now it has shifted to direct sales to consumers. Hardware sales are still important, but the number of monthly active users is getting more relevant, alongside PlayStation Plus subscribers and how much time they spend on Sony services and consoles. That they started to sound like Microsoft there, right? No, it's not how many we sell, it's how many Xbox Live users we have. But anyway, we'll continue with the news. And I do want to give Caleone's perspective because honestly, as I keep reading this, it's almost like I feel like I'm going to become a Nintendo fanboy with Caleones. But anyway, keep going with this. Therefore, according to Yoshida-san, not the good Yoshida, this Yoshida that was talking about business, the access is shifting from hardware to user base. On top of that, after the purchase of a game, users can purchase items or content within the game itself, and the proportions of those sales is increasing. Here we go. Microtransactions, baby. That's why if you support EA, that's why if you support Activision, this is the shit that you're going to get. That's why if you support Microsoft, this is the shit that we're going to get. Because again, Forza had those loot boxes up the wazoo. Here we go. Games and services. Hey, Uncle Phil is maybe right, Caleones. Uncle Phil was right. Single player games are dead. Games with services is the future. But as I continue with my
They're
soapbox.
not really dead.
Yeah. Yeah, well. Anyway. Okay. Yoshida-san also talked about former Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Andrew House leaving PlayStation and John Codera stepping in his place. Since Codera-san is the one who built up the network business, his appointment will lead to further expansion of the segment. Under his direction, Sony can strengthen the direction and improve recurring revenue business. Key, recurring revenue business. I shall continue with my soapbox. We also hear that third-party sales of in-game items and content is very significant for Sony as well. On the first-party side, compared to other companies, the proportion for Sony of in-game sales is relatively low because, again, Sony, to my knowledge, first-person exclusives made by their first-party studios, only 3 games that I remember has it. Uncharted 4, The Last of Us, and Gran Turismo 5. But anyway, so they're very low because they're not doing that. Okay. But under Codera-san's leadership, there will be an appropriate exploration and decision taken in the future. And that's the news with that one. So I'm going to read the last part as a whole again because this is clear. We also hear that third-party sales of in-game items and content is very significant for Sony as well. On the first-party side, compared to other companies, the proportion for Sony of in-game sales is still relatively low. But under Codera-san leadership, there will be an appropriate exploration and decision taken in the future. I wanted to repeat that because that's key. Again, keep supporting Monolith. Keep supporting EA. Keep supporting Warner Brothers. Keep supporting all this shit, and that's what you get. Soapbox, baby. Soapbox. Caleones, what do you think about those news?
Well, I guess one of the things about the news is that Andrew House, it seems, maybe he was against microtransactions and nickel and diming players, and that's one of the reasons why he either was forced to move or he moved by himself because the company itself stated, hey, this is our new direction. This is what we're going to be doing. Either help us do it or we're going to find somebody else that will. So maybe that's one of the reasons why he moved. But also it's I don't know, like I know Sony is a corporation. They have been on the red for a long time. The PlayStation is the only department that's really making them money, and they made it known today that they had like a 345% profit this year because of the PlayStation. Yep. and to a lesser extent, Spider-Man Homecoming and the deal with Disney. But I would say that as a company, of course, they're out to make money. They want to be profitable, and that's what they will be doing. So that's what they're going to be concentrating on. But it does hurt the players. It hurts the players because we're going to be spending so much money to stay competitive, especially when it comes to multiplayer games. There's going to be a lot of like the whales the big whales that are the ones that they're going to be going after. Those are the ones that are going to be spending hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars just to gain competitive edge or on certain games. Hopefully, it's just going to be limited to a certain extent to multiplayer games and not going to affect like us having to pay extra just to get the correct ending or like the last portion of the game or something where they're going to be cutting a game into pieces just so they can make more money out of it. It seemed at some point in the past a couple of years they were going to go with more episodic type games, but a lot of companies they've shied away from it. So hopefully that won't become the norm. But with the loot boxes and those, it seems like they're here to stay as long as players keep spending money on them. And if unless you guys speak your wallets, that's never gonna stop. So I mean it's a really hard thing to hear. Again, it's a company, they're out to make money, but at the same time, it's gonna hurt players.
So me as a Sony fan, of course, one of the things why I like Sony is I get the best of both worlds with Nintendo and Sony. With Nintendo, I get the best gameplay, fun games. With Sony, I get the story-driven games that I love because I love stories. I love good stories in games, right? And you can see that with games coming up like The Last of Us 2, God of War 4, SpiderMan PS4, Detroit Becomes Human. That game's is looking really nice. Days Gone. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's something else that we're gonna talk about because, but we're gonna talk more so about the violence in certain games. But we're gonna touch on that some in another part of the podcast, not right now. So you can continue.
No, that's fine. But story-driven games is what Sony does best, right? That's their bread and butter. At least for now, first-party games are mostly first-player games. So it's hard to put loot boxes in those games. I think. I don't know, but Last of Us 2 the original Last of Us had a great key component for that game, multiplayer. I am scared that we are going to see loot boxes in Last of Us. I am scared that Gran Turismo Sport, even though it's not the mainline Gran Turismo, if Gran Turismo 6 comes out, right, or 7, whatever number they are, I'm not a Gran Turismo guy.
7.
7. It will have loot boxes. It will have the Forza 7 type of deal, like Microsoft did. And then, other multiplayer. And you're also, I forgot to say, you're also seeing this new Sony already, Caliones, because they're putting mobile games too. They're already evaluating mobile games, right? And, no offense, Nintendo's already doing it. They already got the gacha games rolling, and they're making good dough on the gacha games.
They're making a lot of money out of it.
Yeah. So Sony's like, I want some of that. I want some of that pie, sweet pie, right? Not to blame them. They're a company. They're there to make money. That is all good. But don't bring that mobile bullshit to my first-party game, Sony. You better not bring that mobile bullshit. I'm more than happy, trust me, to turn off my Retron 5 and keep playing all-ass games until the cows come home. I'm more than happy to put my PlayStation 1 and play RPGs until the cows come home. I'm more than happy to do PlayStation 2. I don't give a flying F-U-C-K because what companies are doing is wrong, and they're out to make money, and unless the stupid people out there keep spending that sweet-ass dough, they're not going to stop, and they're going to make it harder and harder for gaming or game enthusiasts like me to enjoy my hobby when they're doing all this shit. If it's a multiplayer game, I may be a little bit more forgiving, but a single-player game like Shadow of War, having that shit, that is, to me, is not acceptable. It's still not acceptable in any avenue, honestly. It's better just to put microtransactions and let the people pick whatever they want to buy in microtransactions, but not put in loot boxes. That to me is even worse. I still hate microtransactions, to clarify. So Sony with this new guy, I knew it. Caliones, we did this when we did this new in Force In Unison Live months ago. You remember what did I say? I stated it clearly. I am concerned about this guy taking over, that we're going to get to more game and services. I said it then, and now it's looking like that. And I am concerned because Sony, again, is one of my favorite gaming companies. Like I said, I got the perfect combination with Nintendo and Sony. That's what I love, the games that I love to play. And I am concerned that that's dying. If it is, then fine. I'll go to my cave and play old school Super NES games. That is fine. But anyway, rant is over, Caliones, unless you want to add something out of my rant.
No, I mean, you already said it all. We said it all, so I think we should go ahead and move on.
Let's go to the good news. Paris Games Week, baby, and Sony kicked it ass. They showed some good games, some surprises too. And I know Caliones wants to touch on violence in games. I'm guessing The Last of Us. probably. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. Okay. Let's start with the first game that they announced. I'm gonna go through the announcements. I got a little piece of cheaty paper. I took notes as I watched it the other day. But let's go with the first piece of news, and I'll show the first trailer right here, number 6. That's Wacom Melee 2. They announced Wacom Melee 2. Caliones, as a Nintendo fan, you should be excited about this game because Wacom Melee 1 was on the Wii U. It is a great game. You know how much I love this game? This is kind of like a Metrovania wrestling fighting game. And I love this game so much that I platted Wacom Melee twice. I platted it on the PlayStation 3 and I platted it on the PlayStation 4. And it is a hard plat. You have to have your platforming skills, baby, to the task. So I challenge people out there. If you think you have the skills, I want to see a plat for Wacom Melee. Throw it in my face, and I give you some mad respects. But anyway, the biggest thing about Wacom Melee 2 is chicken power. You're going to get the big cock is flying hard and strong, destroying all the monsters. So, Caliones, Wacom Melee 2. Any thoughts about Wacom Melee? Did you play the original Wacom Melee?
I haven't really played much of it. I mean, certainly not to your extent where you're platinum, like the game twice. Basically in 2 different consoles, but I know it's critically acclaimed. A lot of people have been wanting to get the sequel, and of course one of the first things I heard about everybody when they saw it is, when is it going to be? Is it going to be coming to the Switch? So that's one of the things that I heard a lot of people say. So yes, it is on.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah,
I mean,
they haven't really. They haven't really said if it's PlayStation 4 exclusive or anything like that. But at the very least, they didn't really make it as complicated as Microsoft did with all the world exclusives and console first or things like that. So it's still up in the air. But of course, this is a Sony conference, so you cannot expect them to make announcements for other consoles. And for the developers as well, they're not going to announce it for other consoles until a couple of days later, a couple of weeks later. So
I'm gonna give you a little background because Dreambox is also the same developer who did Sever. So again, buy Sever on the Switch. It's on the Switch. Go buy it. Awesome game.
Yeah, similar art styles in between.
Similar art style, but Dreambox had a good relationship with Sony. How they became and they made that money was because they had a deal with Sony. Sony funded the original game, and they gave them time exclusivity. I wouldn't be surprised to cut costs down a little bit. They're still a small developer. They made the same deal. They're going to have time exclusive with Wacom Melee 2, and it could be, 6 months, whatever. And then it's coming to all the other systems. Wacom Melee 1 came out to everything. So
if Sony is making games for the Nintendo Switch, of course they're gonna allow other companies to make them as well.
Yeah, sure, that works. But anyway, I'm just saying, hey, take it easy. It's coming, trust me, and you should buy it. Anyway, going to the next game that they show was, and again, this is the pre-show. There was 2 shows basically. There was the pre-show and the main show, and they did and made announcements during the pre-show. But number 7, let's go with the Hong Kong Massacre. Now, the reason I put it here and I wanted to show a trailer is because it looks like a Hotline Miami top view type of game, but with good graphics, I guess, not cartoony like Hotline Miami. But it has also like a Max Payne style where bullets slow down as you go and fight the rooms and kill people. It was really a stylish type of game. It reminded me of the old Jung Woo movies. Calderones, I don't know, remember Face Off and stuff like that. It had that style of action. So again, I wanted to show the game. I don't know, Calderones, did you get a chance to see this trailer, or do you know about it, the Hong Kong Massacre?
Yes, I've seen it, and I like the game because for me, there's only a few games that are like this. And when I say about like this, I mean the art style and it's kind of like a Blade Runner type game, and we actually do not have many of those. There is another one coming for the PlayStation, and I forgot the name of it somewhat, but I love these kind of games, and even though they're kind of like old school style games, but the graphics they're great. The gameplay looks awesome, and it's something that looks looks and plays like a game that should be among the best sellers.
Okay. I like it. I wanted to show it. I'm interested in it. And again, could be another game that is coming to the Switch. Shouldn't be a problem porting it over to the Switch. So I hope it comes. If the game is really good, comes to as many consoles as possible. Now I'm gonna go a little bit rapid fire on the
But
oh, go ahead.
But I'll say before you continue, I'm gonna say for the sake of the podcast and the live stream, I'm gonna stop port begging. So I'm not gonna be blah 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 game. Hope it comes to the Switch. Blah 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 game. Hope it comes to the
Yeah,
Switch.
because
So
at some point you won't be able to say like the ghost of
Yeah.
Tatsuma, hey, let's come to the Switch, or Tsushima, whatever it's called. Sorry, let's come to the Switch. That one's not coming to the Switch. Just to clarify. Anyway, no more port begging, but I want to go and hit the rapid fire section. I mentioned those two games because those are to me the two biggest games that I was impressed during the pre-show. But now I'm gonna go a little bit rapid fire. The next game that they showed was The Garden Between. Was a little bit of puzzle game, kind of like you could rewind time to meet the puzzles. So it had that art style of Grime. Give you an example. So that's the type of game. The other game that they show is Loco Roco 2 Remaster. Hey, people who like that, hey, good for you. Never been a fan of Loco Roco, but hey, more power to you. Next one that they show was Sims 4 Expansion. Whatever is the Sims, I don't care about that. Next one that they show was Tennis World Tours. That's kind of like this is like a tennis sim. And what Sony is promoting it like this is their exclusive Major League The Show. Now, would tennis get the same love as Major League The Show? Because in reality, Sony has a good thing going with Major League The Show because it's the only good baseball game out there. And I know Caleones hurts for him because he's a big baseball fan, but the biggest Major League game is on exclusive. So that's kind of weird, honestly. But
I'll say that the game does have a really good chance, especially when it comes to like Europe and even Japan. In the U.S., it's probably going to be hurt a little because the U.S. currently is going through a drought of men's and women's champion. Of course, you got the Serena sisters, but in the men's side, I mean they're not doing so good, so that's probably going to hurt a little. But overall, in the rest of the world, I see it being a pretty good seller.
Okay. Next game. Now they enter into like a VR section on the pre-show. They did show a lot of VR games. They're trying. Yeah, I have to give Sony credit. I honestly did not have that much faith in it. They have always treated peripherals really bad, but they're trying with VR. So let's go with the VR games here. Megalith, sorry, it's a VR. It's kind of like a hero shooter type of game. We'll see, man. The hero shooter is a big thing right now, so we'll see what happens. Next was bow to bow, whatever. It's like a ship game. It's like imagine Battleship, but in 3D. And you're fighting between everybody. Next one could be interesting for Caleones. Ultra Wings. It is basically Pilot Wings in VR, but they name it Ultra Wings. So Caleones, if you're a big Pilot Wing fan, you're getting Pilot Wings finally, but in VR from Sony. But it's called Ultra Wings. Next one, a really cool game. It's called Spring Vector. This is basically like a running game. Imagine Mirror Edge. Have you ever played Mirror Edge, Caleones? So,
yes, I have. Yeah. Both of them.
So Mirror Edge, imagine that in VR, and you're running and doing all those moves supposedly as Mirror Edge. Well, we'll see.
Those are going to make for really fun videos about people throwing up.
Yeah, throwing up and hitting the walls at the house probably because they think it's gonna be real. Anyway, next one that they show was Moss. Again, this is one of the ones that they show in E3. This is the little mouse, the cute mouse that you beat puzzles in VR. This looks like a cool game. I could get into it and play this one at one point. Next one was Star Child VR. Again, it's a platformer VR game. They didn't show much. Next thing that they showed was Resident Evil 7, the DLC with Chris Redfield. This is more, it's playable in VR too, but this is more action-based Resident Evil. So if you really wanted to gun and shoot monsters, this is probably the VR game for you. But you can also play it not VR, just to clarify. Next VR game that they showed was Dead Hungry. Basically like a mobile, you throw food to zombies, whatever. Next one that they showed was Stifle. This is a horror game. It's basically everything is dark, and you have to drop stuff to kind of like a sonar type of to know what is in the room. The problem is if you make too much noise to see what is in the room, the monsters come out and attack you. But basically you're dark all the time. So interesting game, interesting horror game, interesting concept. Next one was League of War VR. Hey, A mobile game that makes it to VR. Whatever. This is one of those casual games, probably. Next one was they show Monster of the Deep. This is the Final Fantasy 15 VR fishing game. Look interesting, but I don't care about it. But then they show Final Fantasy 15, the Ignis trailer. So this is Ignis chapter where they're going to finally show how Ignis, something happens to him in the game. I don't want to say, but they're finally going to show how that thing happens to him in the game. Again, Final Fantasy 15 could be a great game now. They're filling all those plot holes that the game had that I kind of maybe want to play it back. It's just that I won't have that experience of playing it the first time and really engaging into full story, which hurts Final Fantasy 15 in my book.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, like in the game, what happens is that he gets kidnapped, gets his glasses broken, and gets his head shaved. So
sure, that's what happened exactly. Next one was Invector. It was kind of like a music type rhythm game. So if you like those games, hey, it's VR, good for you. Next one was called Ure, and this was kind of like it gave me like I'm putting the trailer right now, kind of like a Journey, a rhyme vibe, but instead of floating in Journey, like going through the sands, you kind of like flying with dragons, and then you're solving puzzles in these guardians to make them back to your side. So basically has a little bit even of Shadow of Colossus type of deal. But it seems fun. It seems great. It had a good vibe, good artwork, and good artistic. So again, I'm kind of looking more into these games a little bit better after beating Rhyme, because Rhyme is I thought it was a really good game. So games like this kind of interest me. And then the last game that they show in the pre-show was Spelunky 2. There's a lot of people who love Spelunky, and they were so happy to see that they announced Spelunky 2. That was the pre-show. So anything to add of the pre-show, Calionis? What do you feel about the pre-show?
Well, I mean, I'll say first thing is the Spelunky game. I think Switch, we just got it like a month ago or so. So it is a fun game, and especially playing with other people as well. About the show, I guess I'm to the point where with Sony, of course, I currently at this moment I cannot call myself a PlayStation 4 owner. So in some of those games, I'm probably gonna miss. But at the same time, I got a pretty good backlog that I can go ahead and take care of, especially with games that are exclusive to the system. I'll say like it's they are doing a really good job of still supporting single player games. Hardly any of them were multiplayer games, mostly single player and VR games as well.
Yep.
So that's it bodes well for the industry, for the video game industry, since they said
this is still Andrew House regimen, right? So we'll see what the new guy, but anyway.
Yeah. So I guess those are games that were under development under Andrew House. So we'll see with the next one what happens, but at least they're still alive and kicking. So the single players games live on, and hopefully nothing will change like the Star Wars game from EA that they went ahead and changed it over. So for now, good news anyways.
Okay, so let's go into the main show. The main show showed more also single player games, but I do want to say something. Jim Ryan was the one who presented in the show, and he does have the most.
I'm sorry.
He does have the most punchable face in the industry. I'm gonna name him right now, the most punchable face in the industry. But I wrote here, FUCK Jim Ryan. I wrote it here. I'll show you it right now. Let me see if it shows up. Right there in my little piece of paper. I don't like the guy at all. But anyway, we're here for the games. Let's start with that.
But you're just saying what a lot of people think anyway, so they'll probably agree with you. Even hardcore Sony fans don't like the guy.
Yep, that includes me. Anyway, let's start with the first game, the biggest surprise of the show, and I'm pumped about it. It is called, and I'm probably butchering the last part of the game, the Ghost of Tsushima. The Ghost of Tsushima, whatever. Anyway, Caliones, how you pronounce it? Ghost of Tsushima?
I would say don't pronounce the T. It's like Tsushima, Ghost of Tsushima.
Anyway, it is. So I'm showing the trailer right now. It's basically kind of like in feudal Japan, the samurai era. and you can see a lot of the beauty. They looks like they have improved the engine a lot. And Infamous Second Son was a really good looking game. To clarify, I platted that game too. It's a really good game. I don't know why a lot of people give a shit, but here you can see the scene where the samurais are practicing working with the katana, and I love katana swords, and Caliones know my old obsession with Highlander. So when you're talking about swords and reliving history, you got me. It's all good. Now the problem with the trailer is like Sony always does. It was just a CG trailer. Right, but at least they show more than Nintendo with the JPEG Metroid Prime 4. Anyway,
but either way, the Metroid Prime 4 game is gonna come out sooner than this one. Just saying.
The JPEG edition. Anyway, I just like to give that dig to Caliones, but this game, they just show a CG trailer. But based on the trailer, in my opinion, it's gonna be an open world type of game in feudal Japan. That to me just sounds awesome, and it's an open world game because this is what they know how to do with the Infamous games. The other piece is that the samurai at the end turns kind of like into a ninja. So I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, Caliones, if you ever played Infamous, but in Infamous, you do a lot of going from roof to roof. You jump, you hang, and you climb a lot of the buildings. Because the ninja shows at the end, like they're seeing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to have a lot of the Infamous type of powers, but doing it with a ninja, and you're going to have a lot of stealth missions. But maybe it's more like Neo. Maybe, I don't know. But my suspicion, based on the pedigree of Sucker Punch, is that this is more of open world type of Infamous game, but instead of a superhero, it's gonna be with a ninja. That's just my opinion. Anyway, any thoughts about Ghost of Tsushima? Whatever.
Well, I mean, I'll say this: like, Infamous Second Son, it was a really good game, a really good showcase of the power of the PS4, especially for a launch title. Or
first year.
Well, first year.
Yeah.
So, it was I mean, it showed amazing tech, and with the additional storyline, the quote unquote expansion that came out later on. But I'll say, like, when it came to the controls, the dynamics, and I'm okay if they decide to keep those things and moving over to the next game. So I mean, to this one. So I would they just need to expand on it, and of course just putting a new coat of story, region, and all of that is going to add to the game itself. But I have no problem with it. I'm okay if we're going to have a similar experience again, and hopefully they will continue to expand.
Agreed. I think Infamous Second Son had great gameplay. I think what stuck with it is the storyline sucked, because compared to Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, the storyline was
the main
bad.
character, he wasn't really too likable.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the gameplay was great. It was just a misstep on the story, but again, this is what happens. Okay, next game that they showed was Concrete Genie. This game's kind of a little bit weird. It's kind of like I forgot the name of that. What was the dog? I forgot the name. It's gonna kill me right now. Painting game on Wii that he became PS2 later, and then was a remake on PlayStation 3. Platinum Games.
The Bloodborne.
No. The dog who you can use the Wii mode to paint and open. It was like a Zelda type of game. God, I don't know why I'm forgetting the game. I knew the name of the game.
Yes. It's Okami.
Okami, thank you.
Yeah.
So imagine Okami with a boy who basically paints and gets powers from painting the walls. Basically a quirky game. It's a new game. Look interesting, single player game. I may play it. This is kind of like old school PlayStation 3 Sony when they would put out those quirky games. So we'll see. It has that Okami vibe. It may be good. Next one was the Playlink with Erica. Kind of like a decision making game. Playlink, they're pushing Playlink a lot because, again, it's a service game where you basically play with other people through mobile devices, but you make decisions during the game. Like, imagine a Saw type of movie in a game where you're making the decisions to see if you survive the horror. But you're making them all as friends survive in different rooms. That is what Playlink is, and Sony's really pushing Playlink. I don't know if it'll catch on, but we'll see.
You can call it like a virtual escape room or something like that. Just a virtual game for it. I mean, it might look good. It looks interesting, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yep. Okay. Next game. They show a VR montage again. Same VRs. They show Ace Combat, Resident Evil 7, Moss, and they show a lot of the VR games that they show in the pre-show. I'm not gonna go through them. They just show Sony loves to do the montage, so they just show a VR montage basically. Next game, which is a new VR game that they show, it's called Blood and Truth. There we go. I say that 10 times fast. Basically, this is a VR game from Sony London, so this is a first-party exclusive, where it's imagine it's like a spy. Imagine you're James Bond, and you're fighting parts scenes in VR, and you're shooting and you're escaping, making daring escapes, and then resolving puzzles. And the reason I'm showing the trailer is that it looked pretty well. I thought, Caliones, this is one of the first VR games in a while that I'm excited to play and try it out, because if you ever played, let me look at it here quickly. If you play VR Worlds on PlayStation, there was a section that was developed by Sony London, which was like a spy heist where you would try to steal a diamond, and then you have to escape certain rooms by shooting your way out. And there was one thing even that you would be driving, and you have to be shooting out of the car and shooting to kill guys as they come drive by, motorcycles. But that was really fun, really entertaining. And everybody I put that on, when they come to play, they say that's one of the best parts about Sony VR Worlds is that section. So they expanded on it and made it a full story game. Like you could shoot guns in two hands. You have a bunch of different weapons, automatic weapons, silencers, and stuff like that as you survive through. I was impressed. And if they can expand on that, that could be another showcase that you can show friends when they come over to see VR. Anyway, I don't know if you ever got a chance to see this trailer, Caliones.
Well, I don't know. It looks like a little bit like GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64 when it comes to the gameplay and how it plays out. So it all depends on for me when it comes to the VR, it depends on the movement of the character, because sometimes you just gotta you press on the floor, you get transported up to the other side. But if you can somehow move freely, like walk around freely, and then you can look around and move your arms and point, shoot, and do all of that, that's when it's really gonna get better. But to me, the games are still not as inclusive when it comes to how you perceive it because of the movement, and that's something that's keeping it from really taking over. So when when your character can really move around, that's when they're gonna take off. So we'll see how they handle this. But I really want to know if that's something that they can do on this one. Based on the video, it did look like there was some sort of movement, and it wasn't like a point and click, like you click somewhere and automatically get transported. So hopefully, they found a way to to actually do it on the game.
Yep, I agree with that. It's all about movement. We'll see. Also, that you don't get sick on doing it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, a little bit of jump here. Next one that they show a couple of games. They show Far Cry 5. Again, they have some business deal with Far Cry 5, so they got the promotional deal with them. They also show Destiny 2 again. They show the expansion, the new expansion for Destiny. They have that deal. It's all good. Have to make that money. And then the next game that they show is, 1 second here. Anyway, I inadvertently press.
Detroit Become Human.
Let's talk about Detroit Become Human, because I inadvertently pressed the wrong button and I'm showing that video right now. Anyway, Detroit Become Human. They show Detroit Become Human. The interesting part about Detroit Become Human is it is how many options you have to create your story and take you to that, and based on your decisions, characters could die. Characters won't survive. And if you play Heavy Rain ever, you'll know how good Heavy Rain was in that. Now, they did struggle a little bit with Beyond Two Souls. I liked the game. I didn't hate it. But Heavy Rain, to me, the decisions matter more with who live and who die than Beyond Two Souls. And Detroit Becomes Human look like they're going back to that more of important decision making in the game. I'm excited. Like the graphics look great too. Graphics look awesome, honestly. Anyway, Caliones, What are your opinions of Detroit Become Human?
I would say it's the narrative. It's a pretty tough one. Pretty like the tone and the I don't know, like they're really trying to tackle a couple of issues, especially when it comes to Android as humans or having some humanity to them. So it seems like the game's really ambitious. They're really trying a lot when it comes to it, and it's I I don't know. I mean, it has such a high um I don't know how to say it, like high expectations that I'm not sure if it's going to be able to achieve it. But at the same time, I'm glad that they're shooting that high. Like you said, Heavy Rain was a really great game. Really, really great scores. I think it's high up there when it comes to the Metacritic score on it. But it's they're just continuing to expand on it. Hopefully, they will deliver. Um, but we'll see. But I really want to play it.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, so they say that it's coming spring of 2018. Interesting. And the Sony's calendar next year looks good too, Caliones. You have to give it credit. You have to give it credit. The calendar for exclusives look really good for next year. Now going back.
Yes, but you know we've been lied to before.
Okay. Anyway, so next one is now I'm gonna show Monster Hunter Worlds. There we go. Press the right button, you'll get the results that you want. Anyway, next game that they showed was Monster Hunter World. This is the one that Caliones really hurts with. He's not happy about it, having it on a PlayStation, Xbox platform.
It's not that I'm not happy about Monster Hunter World.
That's the word. Butthurt.
I'm not happy about Double Cross not being here, coming to the U.S. and Europe. That's what I'm not happy about.
Oh, so you're saying that if you had Double Cross, you'll be happier with it?
Yes. I mean, everybody would be happy because they would have been playing it already for a couple of months. But I mean, about the game itself, I'll say the game does look good. At first, when people saw it, there were worries that they were going to be going away from what makes Monster Hunter games Monster Hunter. But it seems like they're staying pretty loyal to them. Of course, it does have improved graphics, improved animations, worlds, details, and all of it. So hopefully, it's still going to be as immersive, and the multiplayer. It's still going to be good, but we've already seen a couple of games that are portable games going over to the main consoles, and even though they've sold well, they haven't really sold to the expectations that they had before. So we'll see how this making the transition back to a console, because the original Monster Hunter was a PS2 game, so it's just making its way around back to it. So. We'll see how what happens with it, or if it's gonna be one of those games where people prefer on the handhelds more so. So
I think it's cool that you got Alloy from Horizon Zero Dawn as one of the exclusive downloadable characters for PlayStation. I think that's gonna make some people buy that game, and the game looks good. I'm not gonna buy it. To clarify, I'm not a Monster Hunter fan, so I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna be, because it's now it's on PlayStation. Oh, I'm gonna support it. I'm not like that. I think it's just cool that a lot of people who play Horizon and never play a Monster Hunter game may think, oh, it may be like Horizon. Let me try it out and see if it's cool, right? So there's a chance for that. So
yeah, and they've they've been doing it before. They've done it with other characters as well. So it's to be expected that like when it comes to certain consoles, they're gonna have exclusives to their consoles. So hopefully, they're gonna continue adding more characters because they need to establish that fan base and in the console spectrum. So hopefully that's gonna attract the Horizon players. Maybe later on they're gonna do a God of War mix or something else. So hopefully they're gonna continue doing those and be able to get a bigger crowd and a bigger player base. Xbox is still going to get the game, so they may do some exclusive for Xbox as well. But so far, PlayStation does have the exclusive rights when it comes to promoting the game and all of it. So that's why we're seeing all of these things right now.
We'll see. Hopefully, this relationship works out better than Street Fighter V. Heyo! Sorry about the bad joke there for the Sony fans. Don't get mad at me. I'm here to have some fun, even though I'm a Sony fan. Anyway, next game that they show was Call of Duty World War II. I'm not gonna show it here. If you like Call of Duty, you know what to expect. But at least it's back to World War II. A lot of people are excited about that. So I could see a lot of players jumping in back to Call of Duty.
Well, it's still going to be the biggest selling game during the holiday season, anyways.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, everybody. There's some players just buy Call of Duty and that's it. Next one was Outrush. It's kind of like a fun racing game. I did not care at all, but that's fine. If you like racing games and you like that type of arcadey racing games, that game could be good for you. Next one that they showed, of course, Battlefront 2. They have to show Battlefront 2. It's coming out. They got the marketing deal. They're going to sell you that PlayStation Pro with Darth Vader's ass attached to it on top. So, hey, it's all good. You have to do what you have to do, Sony. Now this is where things got good for me in it. Now, I talk about Detroit Become Human already because I jumped inadvertently ahead. So I apologize for that. But then after that, they show SpiderMan. And I'm showing the trailer right now for SpiderMan. Looks good. Caliones. God, my nipples are hard. I'm telling you, this game looks awesome. I'm hoping that it reinvents the superhero or reinvents Spider-Man like Batman Arkham Asylum did for Batman in video games, because Spider-Man has been in a lot of shitty games after Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2. So yeah. I'm hoping that this really helps Spider-Man come back to the forefront. Spider-Man used to be my favorite superhero, and then Batman took over after the Arkham games because I just love the Arkham games so much. I platted every Arkham game. So I just love those games. The story is awesome. It really takes place back, it feels like Batman the Animated Series, the adult edition. So it's really great game. So I'm hoping Spider-Man can jump back to the forefront and makes it feel great again. Only concern that I would have is the character models look a little bit weird. Peter Parker did look a little bit weird, but once he's in the suit, I think it doesn't matter. But I think this just shows you that I think Insomniac still has a long way to go. Now, they did say 2018. We'll see if they hit that 2018 mark. But, Caliones, I know he's going to joke that it's going to take 2 more years to make this game, but we'll see if it makes it. Caliones, any thoughts about the new Spider-Man trailer?
Well, I mean, they're going to have plenty of time to make sure I'll say this. We are talking about the character models, what they look like. These are probably not the finished ones. So there still has a ways to go before it's going to be done. But I hope they take their time with it. Like you said, the first the first 2 Spider-Man games that came out on the PlayStation 2, they were basically what made superhero games what they are right now, and they were amazing. The way that they handled them. So,
no pun intended, but yeah.
But yes. But talking about this one specifically, that's if I had only one criticism, is the same one that you had, is that the character models, they are probably just trying to make them look different, so they know that, okay, so these are the ones from the movie, these are the ones from TV, from the comics, so the aesthetics of them look different from one another, so they can differentiate them. Peter Parker doesn't really look like Peter Parker per se, so I would prefer him to look a little bit more nerd-ish. If that's the thing, but
they said that it was an adult Parker, but it still looks kind of weird. I don't know. They do need to improve on the character models. Admittedly, I'm not gonna be a blind fanboy and say this game is perfect.
But that's just us looking for something to negative to say about the game. The game overall looks amazing, and again, I keep using that word. The scope of it. We've already seen the trailer with the different fighting, the action, how it moves, and they're doing a great job with the game. So hopefully they'll continue to take their time. It is a PlayStation exclusive because, I mean, Sony does own the rights to Spider-Man, so they have to run with this, and it's going to be one of the. I mean, I'll say it's probably the most important game for Sony more important than The Last of Us, more important
Yeah,
than God of
that's true.
War.
It,
Yeah,
it is
this
the
one is.
most mainstream game of their exclusive lineup. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. It should be honestly. It should sell Uncharted 4 numbers. Like Uncharted 4 is around 9 million units sold. It better sell that much, honestly. If not, I don't know if Sony's gonna be happy because they basically this is and Sony can deny it, but this is basically the deal that they made with Marvel. They said, "Hey, you want Spider-Man? Fine, but I want to use the character exclusively in one of our games because they know they're gonna make some money." That is the truth. So we'll see what happens. Still, I'm excited for the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
and but I mean, but you got to think about this other way. Okay, so when it comes to superhero movies and things like that, you always think of them as a trilogy or as a saga. So you're gonna get more, a lot of those. So when it comes to Spider-Man, it's not really necessarily something where like other games where you release one game, then you think of how you can improve on that game and make it look better and all of that. With this one, you release one game and you can release the next two games, the two sequels, using the same engine, using the same assets and all of it, because it is part of the same world, same characters, and around the same time frame as well. So they're making a big investment on the first game. When it comes to the second and the third, the investment is going to be less. So it's just going to be pure profit when it comes to those. So now is when they're spending the money on the game, on the assets, on everything. But on the next ones that they release, if this one does really good, it's just going to be pure profit for Sony.
Yep, we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping it does well. I'm hoping it does well. Okay, next game. 51-minute mark. We're doing good today. Next game is God of War. Of course, God of War. Let me look at where's my hotkey. Boom. There's the trailer. God of War looks awesome. This. I don't know if Caliones, you had a chance to see the new trailer, but the gameplay. There was a lot of people scared that the gameplay would be affected by switching to this new style, but I see it and I'm like, I think it looks fast paced. Still looks action. Still looks exciting. It still looks that it's gonna be good. Now, admittedly, there was a lot of interaction with the kid that may be helpful for you in the fights, but he did speak a lot. I may get used to it like Xenoblade Chronicles because those guys would consistently talk during fights, so I got used to it. But that was the only thing I would say, the kid talking too much. But still, the graphics in the game and the gameplay look awesome. Caliones, any thoughts of God of War?
Yeah, it's I mean my concern is still the same. Is how the main character plays with his son alongside him. If that's gonna affect the gameplay in any way, so that's only my biggest worry. Other than that, yes, it's making the transition to an open world type game, but the game is in good hands. And it's looking great. So okay, so random game channel saying that Ares is the Greek god of war.
That's correct.
But yeah,
That's correct. Yeah.
yeah, but the as far as the game, it's looking great. So I have high expectations for it. But it's the companion and how that plays out that is the biggest worry for me. Hopefully, it's the AI is going to be smart to the point where the kid is not going to be getting stuck in certain things, and you got to go back and protect them and from, I mean, just glitching into a tree or something like that. So that's not going to take away from it.
We'll see. We'll see. Uh, Next game or not game? They show the expansion of Horizon Frozen Wilds. Looks great. I'm all in. Again, too bad. It's almost like going back to games that I'm done with. Like Zelda has an expansion this year, and Horizon have an expansion this year. So it's gonna hurt my plat throughput now because I'm gonna play Xenoblade Chronicles in December. That's done. That's the only game I'm playing. And then in January, I'm hitting the 2 expansions for Zelda and Horizon. So again, that means that takes a lot of time too. So that means that I'm looking until February and start working towards my plats. So guys, make the game complete from the start. I don't want to go back to it after I'm done with it. But yeah, Horizon, the Frozen Wilds, looks really good. Any thoughts on that, Caliones?
Well, I mean, I still haven't played the original, so I really can't say much about that one. I really want to play it. I know it's gonna my Game of the Year awards is gonna feel incomplete because I haven't played a Horizon. But
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
we
rely.
haven't played
Yeah,
Persona 5 either, and that game's
yeah,
everybody talks about it. So you know.
yeah. So that's another one that I mean you have on your schedule for like sometime next year.
Yep. It is on my
So oh,
list. Yeah, I'm that nerdy. I set up a list of games I'm gonna play that the year because my time is so constrained that I need to plan ahead. Anyway,
yeah.
moving along. Shadow of the Colossus, the remake. Now, let's look at it here. Boom. So it looks great. Shadows of the Colossus, the graphics look like a PS4 game. Galleones, you have to give credit where credit's due. This is how you do a remake if you're doing a remake of a famous game from the PS2. Like you go all out. Like Ratchet and Clank, which is it's not a remake, it's more like a reimagining of the first game. It
Yeah,
was
but
done right.
you gotta say it the right way. You gotta say a remake to one of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't think I played the PS2 and I thought it was a good game, but I didn't thought it was one of the greatest thing ever. But there's a lot of fans out there, right? So a lot of people are excited. But the graphics look awesome. They look like again like a PS4 game, open world type of game. Open world is big right now, so this could give another life to Shadow of the Colossus. Now, in people playing the game in the preview event for Paris, they said that they kept the original control scheme, and that control scheme, admittedly, if you like Shadow of the Colossus, it's old school. It's how it's how you play those old type of games on the PS2 era. I think The Last Guardian suffered from that too. I haven't played The Last Guardian. I have it in my docket for next year. But The Last Guardian suffers from that old control scheme. Today, you should be using like the both analog sticks. It kind of like almost like a Zelda Breath of the Wild control scheme. That's what they should be using. The way you shoot the arrow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're
Well,
still
I'll
using the
say
old control scheme. But go ahead, Kalyan.
either way, it's still gonna be a better control scheme than the Monster Hunter games.
Okay, touche. I'll give you that one, Kalyan. You got me on that one. One of the few times that you beat me in an argument. But that's right. I'll give you that one. No, but I think that's a fair point. But still, I just want Shadow of the Colossus to be admired, the game it is, and a lot of new players are gonna be put off with the old control scheme. That's the only thing I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes. The game looks freaking awesome. The graphics look freaking awesome. I game is February of 2018. February of 2018. Now, before we go to The Last of Us, I want to touch base on what Sony has in the docket for 2018. Supposedly, I know Karen is gonna say supposedly, but here we go.
Well, yeah, like big exclamation or asterisk. Just
Asterisk.
put an
Okay, well,
asterisk.
I will give them the asterisk, but Spider-Man 2018 doesn't have even a season yet, but it says 2018. Detroit Becomes Human Spring 2018. God of War early 2018. And then Shadows of the Colossus is the only one who has a date. February 6, 2018. Okay? That is a pretty good goddamn lineup for 2018 for Sony. Now, let's play a little bit of a game. Where you think that game is going to land, right? We know Shadow of the Colossus is February 6th. So that tells me that Sony will want to separate a little bit their exclusives like they typically do the first quarter of the year. So my assumption is around middle of March to late March, God of War will be shipping. That's my prediction. Then Detroit Becomes Human says spring, right? So my assumption is going to be late spring. So I would say around May timeframe, it's going to be Detroit Becomes Human, right? And then they're going to close the show around August to September, close to that season, holiday season, but not stepping on the toes of the third parties, and they're going to drop Spider-Man. So that's my predictions. Caleones, anything you think? You think my predictions are correct in where those games are going to fall, or you think that most of them are going to get delayed?
I'll say that, I mean, this coming year, I mean, because some of those games have already gotten delayed, so I don't think they're going to be delayed much further. I think those are going to be it. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them gets pushed to next year, sometime next year, because it seems like that always happens with some of the Sony games. But these are first party games. Xbox One, since it comes out in a week on November 7th, so next week Xbox One X is going to be out. So they need to continue with the momentum. They're also fighting against the momentum from the Switch. So it is very important that they keep those days, that they keep releasing them, and that by having the first party games in spring, summer, and some of the fall, is going to leave winter open for the usual suspects of the Call of Duties, Battlefields, and all those type of games, that the AAA multiplayer games that so to be out. So I believe that Sony this year, 2018, will be a big year for them, and unless one of them gets pushed over to next year, I think there'll be a we should be expecting all of them, in between spring and summer.
And I think the Switch momentum is not going to hurt them that much because the PlayStation is just selling great. Like, it's not changing. Yeah, Nintendo's winning MPDs. That's fair. But Sony is still selling. This year, they sold more PlayStations than last year. That is crazy for a 4-year-old console, right? So Sony's only fine. They just announced that they shipped 67 million units. Again, it's shipped. They were clear when it was shipped. I know Caliones likes to say that they never say what if it's shipped or sold, but they were clearly stated shipped because it was the investor call, and that's what investors care is how many they shipped. So they're doing great, and that's not going to stop the momentum. All these games are going to make the PlayStation sell great. I think the Switch is on its own crowd, that is nothing's going to affect the Switch either. I think Sony is combating more the Xbox and proving that the PlayStation Pro can withstand and show great games with high-end graphics compared to the X. To me, that's the more direct competition than the Switch. The Switch has its own crowd. They got the mobile people or the handheld people buying the system, and they got a lot of people just excited about Nintendo again. Like a lot of, I won't say casual gamers, but or returning gamers who stopped playing games are now. I got one friend at work bought Mario Odyssey and 6 is awesome, and he's gonna buy Doom because he hasn't played a mature game in a long time. So he's so looking forward to Doom on the Switch because he has never played Doom. So you got those people coming back to the fold now that they were all gamers who stopped gaming. So I think next year is gonna be great years for all three platform manufacturers. If one struggles a little bit, could be Microsoft if their exclusives keep having problems and delaying and stuff like that. But Microsoft doesn't care about that. Well, Microsoft cares about selling third-party games. But go ahead, Colin.
But when it comes to Microsoft, there was a big announcement, and that is
PUBG.
That PUBG has an official release date. It will be coming out on December 12th for the Xbox One. I was hoping they were going to be able to release it on the same date as the Xbox One X on the November 7th, but December 12th is still going to be before the holidays. And game, I think it's only $30, so they have a chance to sell millions upon millions of software, and they're going to try to make a physical game, so have it physically, not just digitally. So that's going to be a big one for them, even though it's a single title. But that one is so. It's so important that I think it will be selling consoles. Also, we do have Brandon Gaming Channel 13 saying that he believes Call of Duty sucks and Halo is better. So
it's all good.
But either way, those games, they have their fans, and Call of Duty is probably a guaranteed 15 million copy seller. So I think that's pretty much what World War II is going to be selling, around like 15 million copies. Halo, once it comes out, we'll see. But either way, with the Xbox One X, the Halo games is going to be able to enjoy from the 4K and the improved assets. So it's still going to be good for Xbox fans.
Yeah, to me, Xbox just cares about. Again, they're losing the software battle right now against Sony. Sony's selling more software on their system. You make money with software, so they're like, how can we get people buying the third-party games in our system? Hey, give them a better console. They want the Xbox people or normal gamers to say, I want to play Shadow of War in Xbox because it looks better. I want to play Call of Duty on Xbox X because it will look better. X, Y, and Z. That's what Xbox is looking for. I think they're already they don't care about exclusives. They're like, whatever, we don't care. We're game with services. That's what we're gonna try to sell up the wazoo. And even though I made fun of Microsoft now, hey, Sony's heading that direction, but my bad luck. But anyway.
Okay, so but let me pose a question to you, since you said that Sony really doesn't see the Switch as a direct competitor. Do you think this is going to be a repeat of the Wii, PS3, Xbox 360 era, where pretty much everybody was buying the PlayStation and the Wii, or they were buying the 360 and the Wii? Do you think it's going to be the same case with people getting the PS4 and the Switch, or getting the Xbox One and the Switch? What do you think?
I would say more the PS and Switch, because Xbox has been struggling. No denied. The way the Switch is going is gonna surpass the Xbox brand, in, I would say, in 2 years easily. So,
But it will surpass the Wii U by March.
well, hey, freaking Atari will surpass the Wii U in March, but the Xbox brand has struggled a little bit this gen. Now, again, cinematics here, or schematics. Is Switch a new generation? In theory, it is. The Wii U was the system for that generation. So in theory, the Switch is number one in the new generation, right? You can hang your hat on that. That is the truth. The Wii U already lost. The Nintendo, that generation was the Wii U. And Sony already won that generation. So to me, the question at some point is going to be, when the PlayStation 5 comes out and the Xbox 2, whatever it's called, can it come back against the Switch? Or the Switch is going to have 30 to 40 million consoles already sold by the time the new PlayStation and the Xbox come out. That is the biggest question to me, Cali honest. It is the truth. That is, if you divide the generations, the Switch is a new generation. So, anyway, let's go with the last one. Oh, you're gonna say something before I go to?
No, I was gonna say, like, if that's the case, then you could probably call the Xbox One X a new generation as well.
But
I'll say the Xbox One X is more so a new generation than the PS4 Pro.
Dude,
I mean, so it becomes modeled.
No, but I get you. They could have called it a new generation, but Microsoft itself stated that this is a mid-gen refresh, right? They themselves said it. That's why I cannot put it in the same category as the Switch, because them themselves stated, no, this is not the new Xbox. And they call it Xbox One still, Xbox One X. They just gave it a name. So it's not Microsoft could easily call it the Xbox 2, and they would have been a new generation, right? And they could have said they're winning, but in my head, Switch would still beat them right now if Xbox One X was a new generation, right? So, but it's Microsoft's own fault. They could have had a chance to start clean, I guess you could say it, and really be kicking PlayStation ass, because then people would think, oh my God, it's the new generation, it's the new Xbox, 6 teraflops. Oh my God, the teraflops are so awesome. But they didn't do it. Anyway, let's go to the last one. I know Caliones probably has something to say about the violence in the game. I am really interested to see what he meant by that. So, with that said, let's show the trailer, that beautiful trailer for The Last of Us 2. Admittedly, I did not like the trailer that much, and not because of the violence. It's just there was a bunch of characters that I did not know. I think the first trailer got me more hype, seeing Joel and Ellie on the first reveal trailer. This trailer, I think it was more to show how the graphics are going to look, because everything by Naughty Dog already stated it was in-game. So, again, Naughty Gods doing their thing. They already said that they are perfecting even more the Uncharted 4 engine, even going way better than the last Uncharted game. So, again, showing the trailers to show a character which I believe is Ellie's mom, based on the facial. Now, this girl is ripped. This girl has more muscles than, whoa. She would probably kick Calione's ass in a fight for sure. But funny part about this trailer is that how they hang her, and she doesn't choke to death. I was surprised, but I think it's because that's the big neck that she has. She has so much muscle that the neck didn't hurt.
I mean, it's just so you know. I mean, that's why they use hanging as a torture device, because it doesn't really kill you right away. It takes a while until it does. So either you run out of breath or your neck breaks. So it's okay. It's common for her to last that long before they cut the rope. So
that's fine.
I'm not making excuses. It's actually, I'll say, pretty accurate to what it takes, and especially taking into consideration her, physical, like condition, her shape, So
the only thing is that Neil Druckmann really likes to put some buff girls on video games, because in Uncharted you had Nadine, who also was a strong buff girl, and even kicks Nate's ass. But hey, Neil. Hey, more power to you. You want to deliver that message. The girls kicks ass. Good for you. Anyway, We can see the trailer that this girl right now, the villain, again, which is a girl too, is pointing the knife at the stomach. So again, that's why I feel that this is probably Ellie's mom and how she basically came to be. So I think we're going to have some flashback sequences in this game expanding the story on Ellie, which could make it interesting on the character development for Ellie. So I'm pumped. Again, I'm pumped. As soon as you said Last of Us 2, I was already in. Trust me. But this trailer, even though it was good and even though it was brutal, because the trailer was brutal, because it shows the world of this game. That's the type of game. It's a bleak game. It's a sad game. It's a game that makes your skin crawl. The first game was like that. So they're not gonna change that. But I'm excited. It's just the trailer did not get me that hype. But Caliones, now I'm gonna let the mic go to you. What do you think about the new trailer for The Last of Us 2?
Okay, well, I'll say that what the trailer does right, and and I assume all of these are in-game graphics, so in-game cinematics. It's not CG or any of that. So, and so the game looks great, the world looks great, animations, everything. But they probably could have taken it down a notch when it comes to violence. I mean, if you read around, places like Forbes, like GameSpot and things like that, they were criticizing a lot when it comes to the violence, because it kind of takes away from the original game. I know that The Last of Us still had a lot of violence. The character went through, I mean, horrific scenarios, but there was still this. This positive side, the relationship in between Joel and Ellie, it was one of the best, relationships, one of the best interactions of characters, and even character growth from when the game starts to where it ends that we've ever seen. But this one does seem more like gratuitous, and instead of telling us more about the game and getting us more interested. So I know that they're criticizing that most of the violence here was against like women and children, but mine's is more so with it doesn't really get me more interested or more hyped about the game. The trailer didn't really work for me, other than seeing that when it comes to the graphic side and the visuals, it looks great. So it could have done more. I know they're probably hinting about additional storylines away from Ellie and Joel. So that's probably one of the things that they were trying to show here. But it doesn't really get me more motivated about the game. I mean, like just listening to Ellie, play the guitar had me more interested in it than watching this trailer. So it wasn't as effective as I think they probably would have wanted it. Also, Jim Ryan, he talked about it. He did say that this is a mature game for for mature people, but most of the people that were doing the complaining were adults. It wasn't kids, and most of the kids that probably will end up playing this game, they're probably not going to complain about the violence or any of that because they don't know any better. I don't know, like, what do you think about the trailer, and how did you feel about it, and about the game overall?
Okay, so about the violence, probably because a lot of people don't remember, but when they showed The Last of Us, the original one, there was a lot of really bad violent scenes. I even remember the first time they showed The Last of Us, one scene when Joel basically breaks the head of one of the guys. Then my eyes were like, ugh. Right? And at that time, I wasn't even interested in The Last of Us because the violence was hardcore. And this is coming from Naughty Dog, who did Uncharted. Uncharted is not that violent at all, even though there's a lot of gunplay. So I think people are just forgetting that they have done this in the past for The Last of Us. And I think people are just more, because the graphics are a little bit higher end, so it kind of hits harder, I guess. But it's, to me, they didn't show anything different in violence than they did on the previous reveals for The Last of Us, and then when they show it to E3. So what I would ask for people, and to you, Caliones, too, is go to the YouTube and look at the reveals and how they show The Last of Us during all the E3s, and you understand my point why I don't feel that the violence was out of hand. I think it was in tone with the original promotion and reveal of the original game to me. But again, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has to have one. About the violence against women, I don't think there's violence in reverse.
I want to take a time to say, hey, Anthony C. From Peru. He
Hola,
dropped
todo
by
bien.
saying hi.
Saludos.
So, buenas, bienvenido al podcast.
Little bit Spanish there. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can get these two crazy MFs happy. Anyway, I had to do my rigmarole a minute there. Next piece is violence against women. And then that's just, again, BS, the environment that we live in. Everything, someone gets offended about everything. Neil Druckmann is a feminist. Everybody knows this. And you can see this by how he empowered characters in the game. He had Nadine in Uncharted 4, and now in this game, the leader of the band of bandits was a woman. Ellie's mom was buff as hell. So he's just trying to show that
supposedly Ellie's mom.
Well, supposedly, but to me that's a set deal. But they look the women that can survive and handle themselves. That's what he's showing. He's showing characters that can handle themselves. But if you want equality, again, if you want equality in gender, no one cries when you're killing a guy. Oh, but when you're hitting a woman and killing a woman, oh, it's a big deal.
Actually, so that's not true, because a lot of people complain when they show the new Wolfenstein 2 trailer. That's just me. Just saying.
But that was complained by Nazis and shit like that. But my point is, typically it's not the same, Carlos, and you can't say that it's the same. It's never the same. If you want equality as a woman, you get the same shit as we get as guys. We have gotten killed in games, in movies, for many, many years. Now it's your turn to share the wealth.
Yeah, I'll say this: Nathan Drake has killed thousands of us, and somehow he's still not a murderer.
Exactly.
But
that's what I'm saying. It's
but
not fair. That Polygon article was a bunch of bullshit.
But let's go over to the other question, and this is the one that I had the most concern with. Did the trailer work to sell you the game?
No, did not at all. The first trailer did way more for me than the second trailer. This trailer was not, in my opinion, that great to sell the game. But their plan was to show a little bit of the other characters in this trailer. I think the hype will come back when they show gameplay. That is the piece that is key. Even though this is all in-game, it's fine. It's all in-game. They still haven't shown gameplay. And until they show gameplay, I don't think no one's going to get that hype with more cinematic trailers, I guess, to put it that way. So I'm happy for the game. I'm pumped for the game. The first trailer did way more to sell me on the game than this one. But I think that's more because everybody wants to see the gameplay trailer. Until that happens, it's not going to be the same, Caliones. But
okay, so is there anything you want to say about this?
You're saying the Last of Us or the overall the conference?
Overall for the conference.
Way better than E3. I thought it was a better conference than E3. I thought the trailers were better. They were missing one big gameplay stage demo like they did with Days Gone. I thought they did a good job showing Days Gone in E3. They did not show Days Gone in this one. Makes sense because you were showing The Last of Us, and they're two similar games, so you don't want to have them in the same vein, right? But I thought it was better than E3. I thought the surprises were better. Sucker Punch new game got me hyped really quick. Show a couple more surprises like Wacom Melee 2, Blood and Truth, Concrete Genie. They show a new trailer for SpiderMan. Again, trailer.
And they continue to push VR as well.
They continue to push VR, which again, I got VR. I'm excited to play some new games, but I'm not going to play all of them. So I thought it was better than E3. Now, the question is how they're going to treat PSX. And I believe the PSX is going to be more indie-focused conference. I think they show all the AAA games on all the Paris Game Week and E3. That means to me that PSX is going to be indie-related. Any final thoughts from you for the conference, Caliones?
Well, I mean, overall, I really like the conference. And like you said, it was better than E3. They did a really good job with the games, having surprises as well. I'm just glad that even though it was a game conference, you know how Sony always tries to find a way to sell their other products. trying to sell TVs and things like that, like they did last year. So I'm glad that they didn't try to put those in. They concentrated on games and games only. And yeah, just laying the foundation for 2018. 2018 is going to be a really important year because it's going to be a year where they're going to be transitioning. I really believe that the PlayStation 5 will be out possibly by 2019. So 2018 is just going to be all about pushing the games and all of it. So and eventually going away from the Slim and making the PS4 Pro the main console. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, 2018 they're overall they have a really great foundation to have a really big year, especially like from the beginning if they maintain those release dates and when the games are going to come out. So they're positioned really well to continue their string of success and over Microsoft as well, even though they have a new console coming out.
So I do believe that Sony has had great years in the last 3 years or so with good exclusives. They struggled the first year. I think that's because that's normal from Sony. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, they always struggle the first years because they support the console until the very end. So that's why you had to always struggle the first year. I don't think the PlayStation 5 is coming 2019. I think it's 2020. I think they have to learn the lessons from not having good content the first year because, again, they're supporting the PlayStation until the end, PlayStation 4. So what they do is drop these big hitters, but at least hold on a little bit to have one of the first parties work on games for the PlayStation 5 and have some content the first year of the PlayStation 5. And I think 2018 could be a great year. 2016 was awesome with games like Uncharted 4 and Ratchet and Clank. 2017 was awesome with games like the Horizon Zero Dawn, the new Uncharted standalone DLC, or you can call it a standalone game, and then Gran Turismo. Those are 3 big hitters for Sony. And then this year, or next year, sorry, they have 4 supposedly good exclusives. And then 2019 looks good with Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, and the Ghost of Tsushima. So Sony is showing you the layout. They're showing you what their plans to do. And we'll see if they can deliver. They can keep this content coming. I think they're going to be fine against Xbox. And I think the Switch, like we talked earlier, I think Switch is going to be, it's a perfect companion console. If you have a PS4, the Switch is awesome to take and play the Sony's exclusives and Nintendo exclusives. And Nintendo exclusives have been killing it. So it's a good time to be a gamer. I am sad about the microtransactions. We talk about it. Hopefully that won't be the case. If it happens, I'll turn into a Nintendo fanboy. And if Nintendo gets to that too, because every company needs to make money, then crap. I'll just play my Retron 5.
But this is what I'll say about Nintendo. Nintendo is just getting into the DLC and those. So if they get into loot boxes and things like that, it won't be for another 5 to 10 years. So you don't have to worry about it.
Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see if we're doing this show 5 to 10 years from now. We're all as fuck, close to 50, and doing this show. Shoot me. Anyway, we're done. That was a jam-packed show. It was a PlayStation podcast, baby. This is our pilot episode for Greatness Awaits PlayStation podcast. Someday it may come. But still, we're still in Force In Unison Live. Anyway, let's end this show. Let's put a little bit of music here. There you go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Force In Unison Live, episode 10, every Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern Time. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make this two crazy MS happy. Also, remember, we do have a Nintendo podcast called the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast every Saturday, 9:30 Eastern Time. Go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download that podcast for free. Rate us over there so you can show us some love. Also, remember tomorrow, my boy Caliones will be doing streaming Wednesdays. So if you want to play with Caliones will play with the peeps and have some real fun. Also, remember, we do have a Facebook page called Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some click and love to my boy Caliones. With all that said, long live gaming. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
And with that in mind, right, I need to put the. There you go. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. See you, everybody.
Good night.